Hi everyone. Tonight we're speaking with Wendi Hendricks. Wendy's running for Ohio District 43 representative. Glad to see you tonight.
Same.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Um, so let's start out. Exactly what does the state representative do for us?
So I get that question a lot. What do you guys do? And it's really simple. We have your concerns and your voice. Like, we have to know what our district is interested in, their passions, their concerns, things that are problems in their area. And every district has its own issue. So they divided the Ohio up in all these different districts, and I am 43, which is West Toledo, Ottawa Hills, a little bit of South Toledo, right up to UT, and a little bit north of that. And then we go to Washington local, all the way to Michigan. We have probably a mile and a half into Sylvania Township, and then we go all the way over to Point Place, and we go up to 209th Street, and we have Shoreland.
Gee, wow.
So it's like a crazy district. But our job is to find out what is most important and be the voice for Toledo in Columbus. So I would bring the concerns to the State House, and it's not supposed to be what Wendi wants in the area, what Wendi's needs are. It is by constituents. I'm supposed to really work hard and try to find out what people's voice are, like who's yelling the loudest, who's having the most problems, and then try to rectify that and bring money to this area and help in that way too.
To represent people. Huh?
Yeah, I mean, that would be my job.
That's awesome. Well, tell us then. Obviously, you hear a little bit what's going on in your district. What are some of the top important issues facing your district?
So, well, I do a lot of door knocking, and I knock on Democrats, Republicans, Independents alike. I don't just knock on one particular person's door. I knock on them all, because I need to find out what they're all feeling. And it doesn't matter if they're Democrat or Republican or Independent. What I hear is they're yelling about safety. They don't feel safe in their neighborhoods. They feel like there's gunshots going on that they never heard before, and they see people getting shot, people getting robbed, and it's a really big problem. I was endorsed by the Toledo Patrolmen's Association and the Toledo Commander Officers. So I have been having meetings with them, and together we're going to work on the problems. And there are problems, but they're solvable. So, but if you don't have your safety, I mean, you really have nothing. So safety in Toledo is my biggest concern, because it's the people's biggest concern.
Absolutely. Some of the areas that you talked about, I know have been some of the local areas that have been particularly hit hard with the fentanyl crisis that has been going on for the last few years, and
It's sad.
The poverty spiking too.
Yeah.
A lot of issues going on.
Yeah, there's definitely things that can happen. We don't have enough police in the police force. People don't even want to try out to be a police, and there's the stigma now about police are bad, and we have to change that. We have to educate the people and have programs in place, so everyone feels safe.
Absolutely.
Everybody.
Absolutely. I caught you at the meet and greet the other night. You mentioned something that night about parental rights, and it was one of the things. And
So a little bit about me. I own my own business, and I have for 27 years. And I have a great passion for helping people figure out where they belong in the entertainment industry, because that's where I work in. And what I do is I have to be a good listener, and I have to find out, what their needs are, where they want to be placed, and so on. And doing this and working with these kids and parents, I've learned so much about what's going on over the last 3 to 5 years. And it's really disturbing, because like I said, I've been in business for 27 years, and it's the first time I've heard so many complaints about parents not knowing what's going on with their kids being confused, depressed. There's just a lot of interruption in the classrooms, as far as like there's not a communication between a parent and a teacher. So if there's something going on with your child and they think that they shouldn't have to tell you about it, that's not doing the child any service at all. And parents have the right to know what's going on with their kid. It could be really dangerous when you don't know what's going on with your child. So we definitely have to change that. And today, law in Ohio is a teacher does not have, or a principal does not have to tell a parent what's happening with their child.
Mm.
And I just couldn't believe that that was a law. So I will be really working along with the school board and finding out, what is going on and why is this happening, because that's not what the people want. So again, my job is to know what they want, and Republicans and Democrats alike want to know what's happening with their child. Nobody's okay with that.
For sure.
Yeah.
That is absolutely a safety issue for the children at schools,
Yeah.
for sure,
And I think it stems from if a child wants to be a different gender. Let's say they feel like they're a boy and they're a female, and maybe they don't think their parent would go along with that. So the school feels like they should not be talking to their parent about that. But that's not right for the child. And they're afraid that the parent won't accept that. Well, it doesn't matter what the parent's going to do. The parent needs to know that their child's having an issue and to figure that out together in their family home, not in their school. And so that's kind of where that came from. I feel like from talking to different schools and finding out why they're doing that. And it's wrong. We have to know what is happening with our children.
For
And
sure.
they need to trust that parents will have the best interests of their child, because every parent I talk to obviously cares what's happening with their child. And if there is an issue of safety and they think someone's going to be harming a child, well, then that you pick up the phone and call, the police. Like, that's very rare that happens, but they should call the police. That's different than what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just everyday life with these children. If they have an issue and the school knows about it, whether it's they want to be a different gender or they want to be a cat or whatever, the parents still have a right to know what's going on with their child. I feel strongly also that the people in my district, 99.9% of the people that I talked to in my district, there was one person that disagreed with me, that they all felt that a biological man should not play in a women's sports. And it doesn't take much thought in this, because obviously men are stronger. Men have a stronger upper body than females, 100%. And why do we have women's sports in the first place? Why do we have women's tees in golf and men's tees back here? I mean, I'm surprised that I'm even explaining this to anybody, but everyone in my district, except one person. And after I talked to that person and said all these things, they said, oh, well, yeah, I guess you're right. So everybody that I talked to said, yes, of course they shouldn't be playing against women. So why are we even dealing with this? In Ohio, we do already have the rule and law that you can't, but the person I'm running against would try to have that changed. So just so you know, I stand very strongly that women should only be playing against women. Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, there's special needs kids and adults can't play in regular sports, so they came up with a way they could play sports, which is amazing. And so they have their Olympics, they have their special sports, because that's how they can compete competitively and be able to do that. So maybe someone who is a biological man that wants to play in women's sports, they can come up with their own sports and play against each other. I mean, I would be for that. Because I feel for these people, but it's such a small percentage, maybe less than 1% that they want to do this, but it still disrupts a woman's sports, and it takes away a woman's scholarship that she worked forever, all her life for. They could get hurt. There's a lot of reasons why, and like I said, I don't have to list them all, but we all know what they are. So yeah, I would be highly against men in women's sports.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. That's a great little segment there.
Yeah.
So what are your qualifications for the job? Let's hear part of your resume here.
Yeah, so I raised kids. I had 4 of my own, and I have 3 grandbabies. I was in business. Oh my gosh, I bought a business when I was in my 30s. So I did go to school. I went to Lourdes College and I studied psychology, and then, which I loved. It was a lot of fun. And then I decided that I wanted to have my own business, and I decided to get into the modeling and the acting industry. I actually bought Margaret O'Brien's old business. She was in business here for, I used to use her, how long she was in business for, but then that'd be 100 years by now, because I think she was in business over 50 years when I bought it.
Wow.
Yeah. And she came to me with this opportunity and wanted to sell me the business because I was a competitor of hers, and she liked the way I run my business. So I was really honored with that, and I did buy it. And I've mentored many people. I think I would be really qualified just in my one program alone, which helps kids and adults get jobs. So if someone comes to me and they don't have a job and they want to be an actor, and they're like, yeah, I can do this, I really want to do it. I said, yeah, you're an amazing actor, but I don't even know you can hold a job. You don't have a job. You're not working. You're not in school. So I have a program where I teach them how to do resumes. They learn how to go on interviews, and then they have to report back. And I cannot tell you how successful that is. How many people really got jobs from me doing that? And then after they hold the job for 6 months, they can come to classes. And then if they held it for a year, they can go with me to LA or New York or South Beach, wherever I'm marketing them. So, and I've got one kid right now that is going to be going with me to LA because he's done such a great job. In fact, he has 2 jobs. So, but he's really mad about the one job because they keep laying him off. He's in the automotive industry. He makes parts for Jeep or GM. I'm not really sure which one, but he makes parts. That's what his little company does. And they keep laying him off. And again, it's because of the way they're voting for these EV vehicles. So I told him the story. So now he's a Republican. He really is. And he's out there. He's my biggest cheerleader. But yeah, so my programs really are effective. I feel like they should be in all the schools. These kids need to have, and I do it in a fun way, how to interview. We have exercises that teach them improv that helps them get through interviews. So yeah. It's a fun thing, and I feel really proud that I've helped a lot of people get jobs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What a great program it sounds
Yeah.
like. Wow, already helping the community.
And you don't have to pay for it. These kids that are in that, none of them pay for it. It's just something that I do to help them achieve what they want to do, but they have to have a job first. Because if they can't maintain a job, then how can I put them in the industry? Like that would be irresponsible of me to do that. So I started doing this about oh my gosh, I've been in business 27 years. So I probably started doing it about 20 years ago. It took me a while, like being in my business, before I started realizing, wait, these, I got to help these people get jobs because they want to be an actor, but they first need to have a job. Yeah.
Definitely. And jobs, especially jobs, and when you don't have a job, it can mean a whole lot when you do get a job. It helps your spirit. It helps you feel good about yourself.
It gets them up in the morning. Right. There's so many things that it does. You're really right. And for them to be in the industry, especially in the acting industry, it's hard. When you're in LA or New York, you still have to have a job. You don't just, they come in thinking they're just going to be an actor and make, their first million. But they do have to be on set every day. Besides a regular job, in between working as an actor, being on set every day is like a job. It's hard work. It's not what they think it is. So I need to see, can you really hold a job? So it's a good system.
Absolutely. It sounds great.
Yeah.
Sounds great. I think just being a mother of 4 gives you plenty of multitasking qualifications for the job.
Yeah, I love being a mom. Yeah. It was so funny. I would hear moms say, "Oh, I can't wait till my kid's not in this stage anymore," and I would always say, "Oh my God, I love this stage." I really loved every stage of my children growing up. I loved the babies. I loved the toddlers, the teenage. I just loved it all. And I'm doing the same thing with my grandbabies. Oh my gosh, they're growing up so fast. I have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old grandbaby.
Wow.
And I really enjoy it.
What a great day! It's like it almost sounds like Groundhog Day. Once you get from 1 to 3, it's like oh.
Yeah, by the time I had my second child, I was like, wow, this is really hard having two. And then after that, adding them, I could have had 10, but I didn't. I loved having kids.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the last questions we're gonna ask you is what kind of things do you like to do for fun? I mean, you have a bunch of kids and grandkids and
I love that. I love that question because I love riding horses.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I actually want to get a horse again. So I was raised in Oregon, Ohio.
Okay.
Just over the river, and I was right on Maumee Bay State Park. I used to ride my horse to Lake Erie, which is only a mile away from where I grew up. So I would ride my horse and I would swim on the back of my horse. I did it all the time. And I guess I never really talked about it much when I got home. I just would go do it and come back. One day my mom heard me telling the story. I was swimming. She said, "You're doing what? You know how dangerous that is?" Evidently, if you fall off your horse, you could get hit with, because they're they're swimming.
Oh, yeah.
They're not just like casual. I mean,
you were out deep.
I would go to where my horse was swimming.
Oh my God.
And I would just be on its back. I was bareback. I just hang on to its mane. I'd float. I mean, it was so much fun. And I wouldn't go out super far, but the horse was swimming. So that was cool. But then when my mom said that, I'm like, okay, I'll be careful. She's like, no, don't do it. I'm like, I'll be careful. But I would ride all the way from the park all the way to Navarre Avenue. I'd ride through Pearson Park. Like, I just was all over the place with my horse. It was like, oh, there goes Wendi and her horse. So it was a really fun upbringing. So I just always still love riding.
You still get chances
Oh,
to
yeah,
do that, huh?
yeah.
Awesome. But we've seen like horse trails out at Oak openings and like that.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yep. So yeah, that's my hobby is horseback riding still.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, great. Well, Wendi, thanks so much for coming in and speaking to us.
Sure.
I love talking to you. Thank you, everyone who was tuned in to watch, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yep, thanks. I have a website, and my website is wendyhendricks.us, and it's Wendi with an I. And I'm also on social media, and so it's Wendi Hendricks for State Representative number 43. That's on my Facebook.
Awesome. Excellent.